Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. It has been a really long time since I talked to you guys, but mainly because I've had so many other things going on in my life that YouTube kind of had to take a backseat, and I really didn't know what kind of content to put out for you guys. Before, most of my content was like food or about macros and that kind of stuff, and while I still count macros and I still like live that kind of lifestyle, I've been trying to focus more on growing my business and growing my business through serving others. And while I'm still doing that lifestyle, I have a lot of health issues that have prevented me from being able to track macros like I want and show you guys how to do the things that I want to teach you, because I can't do them myself. So that's kind of like my excuse, I guess, for not doing any videos. But today, if you follow me on Instagram, then I told you guys I was going to talk about my husband and I's love story, because I did a poll and I asked you guys if that would be something you'd be interested in, and I got so many of you saying yes, that you would love to hear our story, hear about why we got married so young, how we stayed abstinent, and what we believe about abstinence before marriage, like what to expect when you're getting married, and all these different things that go into like being a young married college student and business owner. I really love that you guys want to know more about it, because I love talking about our love story. I mean, my marriage with Craig is like literally the greatest blessing that God has ever given me, so to be able to share it with you guys is huge. And today I'm only going to be talking about Craig and I's love story, and then there's going to be a series. So this is video 1 of a series of me talking about all the things that I just named, like why we got married so young and all that kind of stuff. I want to make a separate video for each one, because if you guys don't know me, I can be chatty and I can just go and talk forever. So I want to make each video like specific to each topic. First of all, if you don't know me, I'm Lexi Thierry. That's how you say my name, by the way, is Thierry. I'm 21 years old. I'm a college student. I graduate this December. I'm a business owner. So I think a month and a half ago now, I quit my jobs to pursue being an online personal training full-time. And ever since I decided to pursue that purpose and that call that God had for me, my life has completely changed for the better. Like, I can honestly say right now I love my life so much, and just having the support of Craig and my family and everything is huge. So that's a little bit about me. And Craig and I got married when I was 19 and he was 20. So our 2-year anniversary is coming up next month. It's crazy. So without further ado, we are going to get into our love story. So believe it or not, we actually met on Twitter. 4 years ago was when we were both seniors, and I had just graduated, and so Twitter was kind of like the platform that everybody used. I actually don't get on Twitter at all anymore now, but so how it happened was, at the time, I was in a relationship that I probably shouldn't have been in. I just found myself kind of like making sacrifices all the time for, like, in my faith. Like, I would put aside God and what God was telling me to do to pursue this person, and also despite what everybody else around me was telling me, I just was like, nope, I want to be with this person. I kind of fell off the wagon, I guess you could say, in my faith, and I just started putting my worth and my joy, things that I knew God didn't really want me to put my joy and my faith and my hope in. And so I finally decided one day, when I was just drained of every like amount of energy that I had, and I was just so, like, I had all these people around me that loved me, but I felt so lonely, and I knew it's because I needed more of God. And so I decided right then and there, like, if this person does not want to pursue a relationship that is God-centered with me, then I'm done with them. And I told him that, and the next day, Craig actually subtweeted me. Like, I don't know if you guys remember subtweets, but like where you talk about somebody without actually talking about them. I had gotten on Twitter and was like, hey, I would love if somebody would like go see this movie with me, and then he subtweeted me right after that, and I was like, was that about me? So I subtweeted him again, and it was kind of this like little, you know, like immature sort of thing that we were doing, like subtweeting each other, like not out of like meanness, it was kind of just like, are you talking about me? And so he finally messaged me and was like, hey, I'd love to go see that movie with you. And I was like, no, like, I don't want any guys in my life right now. I want to focus on Christ. I don't want anything to come in the way of me and building my relationship with God. So he was like, okay, I understand that, blah, blah, blah. So he kept messaging me for about 3 or 4 months, like from the time that he first messaged me to the time when I actually decided to go on a date with him. And I denied him every single time. Every single time he messaged me, I was like, nope, please stop talking to me. I was actually kind of mean. But when you're so like lit and on fire for God and you want to be on fire for God, it's kind of just like you get these blinders on and you're like, no, like guys, every single guy that I've had in my life so far has been nothing but like disaster. So I don't want anybody else in my life to take me away from God. And so that's kind of why I was like not very nice, which goes against everything that I believe in now. But fast forward like 4 months and he messages me again, and I was with my friend at the time, and she was like, why don't you just do it? Like, there's no hurt in it. Just go on a date with him. And I was like, so I messaged him and said, if I go on a date with you, will you please stop talking to me? Like, oh, that sounds so mean now. But he was like, yes, that's fine. And so my dad is somebody who, you have to meet him. Like, if I bring a guy home, he has to meet him and he has to shake his hand. And he always had this saying of like, if the guy you bring home does not shake my hand harder than I'm shaking his, then he's not the guy for you. So I flat out told my dad and my mom both that, don't worry about it. This is not going to go anywhere. I'm just going to go on this one date, and then that's going to be the end of it. And so I literally did not expect anything out of it. And my dad was kind of like, okay, that's fine. I don't have to meet him. I got ready, but I was like half getting ready, not really caring. And I remember telling my mom, well, Mom, we'll see you in like half an hour. I promise I'm not a horrible person. It's the kind of mindset that I had at the time. He pulls up, I walk outside, and it wasn't like kind of that like love at first sight thing, but it was more of like, this could be better than I thought it would be. Like, I really didn't expect anything out of this, but by the way he looks and by just like the way he carries himself, like I can see this. Like this is okay. But I was still really scared to like do anything about it, like go anywhere from that date. So on that date, it was actually ended up being the best date that I've ever been on in my entire life, and we literally just went to Chili's. But on the way home, when he was taking me home, I remember texting my mom, and I was like, Mom, this is different. This is something different. And she texted me back, and she was like, I kind of thought that too when I saw you guys pulling away. I was like, okay. I had a really hard time putting a label on it, so we were talking for like, I don't even know how long, probably like 5 months before we ever put a label on it. And the reason that I couldn't put a label on it was because I had just gotten out of these really, really tough relationships, and I was just so not ready to put a label on being with somebody else, even though he made me happier than any person I've ever met.
No, I'm coming in here to add something.
What?
You forgot the part where, after our first date...
This is Craig, everybody.
The first date, it went really well. And then, after the first or second date, you texted me and you said...
No, I'm not there yet.
Oh, you were going to tell that part?
Yes.
Oh, well, it
I'm
sounded
not
like
there
you
yet.
just, like, skipped it right past.
No.
Okay. Then never mind.
I'm glad you didn't ruin the whole story for everybody. No, I don't remember where I was. Put a label on it, right? Okay, so then within that 5 months of us talking, I did skip over it, but I was getting back to it. Don't. Like right after we went on that first date, I was like, sure, let's go on some more dates. And wait, what was our second date?
We went to the movies to see Transformers, which
yeah.
was 3 hours long.
A 3-hour-long Transformer movie was our second date. And then after the second date was when I told you, yeah, because we went to Dairy Queen, sat in the parking lot, and I told you that I didn't want to do this. Right? Yeah. And then, so after our second date, I told him I didn't want to do anything. Like, I didn't want it to go anywhere. And he was kind of like, that was hard. Did you cry?
No.
You didn't cry?
No.
He talked me into it, and we continued to talk. Then my mom and I went to Michigan. This video is not going how I planned it to go. Oh, guys. Okay, we're gonna try it again. My camera ran out of memory twice now, so this is a very choppy love story, but we're gonna get through it together. My mom went to Michigan on vacation, and on the way to Michigan, I started to kind of think back to when we first met, and I was like, you know what, like, I decided that I wanted to focus on my relationship with Christ. Not that I couldn't do that with him, I just wanted to do this for me and like not have anybody else distracting me. And so on the way to Michigan, I kind of sent him this like really long text saying, I'm really sorry, this is what's going on in my head, I wish you the best, you're a great guy, but have a nice life. I literally said have a nice life. And so that was kind of like what I thought would end it. Sent me a really long text too. And so we went to the Walgreens parking lot, and I just told my mom, like, we were about to go in, and I was like, wait, I need to read this text really fast because it's really long. And so I read it and instantly started bawling because he was just explaining to me like how this is what he wants. Like, he knows that we are supposed to be together somehow, and he wants to help me grow in my faith, and that he doesn't want me to have to do it alone, that he's not going to be a hindrance, but he wants to like help me, and just this really long message. And I read it out loud to my mom. My mom starts bawling her eyes out. Like, my mom cries a lot, but this was like different. She's like, Lexi, this is your person. I remember her saying, what if this is the guy that you're supposed to be with and you're going to throw him away because of a past relationship that still is hurting you? And it kind of slapped me in the face a little bit, like, wow, you're right. Like, what do I have to lose? Like, if this guy really wants me to help me build my relationship with Christ, then by all means, that's great. Like, no other guy has ever said that to me before Craig. And so I was kind of like, okay, I'll give it a try. Like, God, I'm going to trust you. I'm going to trust what your plan is for me. And then, like I said, we talked. Like, we didn't put a label on it at all. It was more of just, like, his dad still jokes to me about it to this day. He's like, remember when you were talking and you, like, couldn't put a label on it, but you really were dating? And I was like, yes, I know. And so something unique about Craig and I's relationship is we decided to not say I love you until we got engaged. So I know that sounds really strange and, like, different, but the reason that we didn't want to say I love you before we got married is because in all of my relationships, it has always been, I'm in love with you, I love you. Like, so for me, I needed to keep that word a little bit more sacred, a little bit more special, because I had thrown it around in so many other relationships. And it's not that I didn't love him, because I really did. Like, from the moment we met until today, I loved him. It's just I wanted to make it special, and we wanted to make it mean a little bit more. How long were we engaged?
A year. Dated for a year, engaged for a year.
Dated for a year, engaged for a year. So after a year of dating, he asked me to marry him. And get this, remember how I just told you that we saved saying I love you until we got engaged? He forgot to say it. Do you remember that?
When I proposed, yeah.
When you proposed, he forgot to say I love you. We waited a whole year to say it, and then he forgot. Got married June 25th of 2016 in our wedding anniversary. 2-year wedding anniversary is in a month. Can you believe that?
It's crazy.
2 years! So that was kind of our little bit of a messy love story from the time we met until we got married. And then it has been really crazy ever since then, but the best 2 years of my life. Right, bud?
Absolutely.
Next couple videos are going to talk about, like, more about marriage rather than our story. That was kind of like an introduction into the next videos. And out of our story, the, like, kind of lesson that I want to give you guys is that when you want to pursue God with all of your heart, He doesn't ask you to do it on your own. And He actually, like, wants you to be with other people to do it, because you don't have strength on your own to be able to deal with the world and deal with all the things that the world throws at you, to be able to build a relationship that He wants you to have with Him. So having other people there is huge. And I also just want to let you guys know that there are still men in the world who love God, and our vows to each other were that we would love God more than each other. And it's hard to do that, but it's so possible to know that if you're a woman out there who has been searching for a guy who loves God or a guy who fears God, then it's possible. I truly believe that God led me to Craig because I chose him. I chose God. I had been choosing the world. In every other relationship, I had been choosing the world. But as soon as I started, I just made some sacrifices that really weren't even sacrifices now that I think about it. But as soon as I made those sacrifices, God brought Craig into my life and then blessed me beyond belief. So if you're in a circumstance right now or a situation where you have just been through every single relationship, you've been broken, beaten down, felt unworthy, told things that are not true about yourself like I had in my abusive relationship and all of my other relationships, I felt like I didn't deserve anybody. I felt like I would never find anybody. I've put my worth in these people for way too long. I've put my joy and my happiness and my everything. I put my everything into these people for too long that I need to start focusing on not only me, but I need to start focusing on what God wants for me. And like I said, as soon as I did that, he brought me Craig. So, and I'm not saying that that's going to happen for you, because God has a different plan for everybody. I was just lucky enough to have it that way. But if you have been waiting for a guy who fears God and loves God, he's coming. Just put your faith and your trust in God and ask him to give you the grace for the waiting period. Because my waiting period was not very long between the time that I decided to trust God and the time that he brought me Craig. But my waiting period between everything that I went through and pouring myself into other people and still praying. I remember praying to him in the midst of all these relationships, like, God, why does he not love me like I think he should love me? Why does he not love you like I think he should love you? And junior high and high school, I prayed that God would bring me somebody like Craig. But at the same time, I kept praying for that, but I kept walking away from the exact opportunities that God was giving me. So yeah, if you're in that situation right now, just pray that God would give you the grace in the waiting period, because it's coming for you. Next video, we're going to talk about why we got married so young. Now this video should be a really short video because there's not really a whole lot of explanation to it, but it is a question that I get a lot. So stay tuned for that video. If you guys like this one, please give it a thumbs up. Please tell me that you liked our story, or if you have a similar story, if you got married young, if you stayed abstinent till you were married, let us know that we're not alone. If you're a God-fearing couple, God-driven or God-centered, Christ-driven, then let us know. Use that hashtag below, and then tag me on Instagram, because I want to hear your guys' stories. It's so cool to connect with other young couples and other couples who love God and put him first. Guys, I love you so much. Thank you for tuning in again, and I will see you in the next video. Stay tuned for that. Bye!